Seb and the Sun by Jami Gigot. Seb lived in a sleepy coastal town far in the north. So far north that the sun never shone in the winter and the days were cold, dreary, and dark as night. Seb missed the sun. To pass the time, Seb combed the beaches for treasure. His friend Walrus was an excellent treasure finder, even in the dark. "It's perfect condition and perfect for my collection," said Seb. Seb and Walrus shared a honey sandwich with the crust cut off. "I wonder where the sun could be," thought Seb. Walrus only bellowed, "Wah!" wanting another sandwich. On his way, he passed by the miners clutching their steaming mugs of coffee and hot soup. He waved to Mrs. Vandermoose, who knit furiously by a roaring fire. He nodded to Bruce Brewster, who put on a second pair of gloves. And he said hello to Mr. and Mrs. Muktuk, who assured him they would finish their carving by summer. Seb peered out into the day that was as dark as night and dreamed of warmer, sunnier times. He wondered if there was a way to bring the sun back to his sleepy coastal town, even for a moment. That night, Seb made a plan. The first thing he needed was rope. Lots and lots of rope. The miners had plenty of rope to share. Mrs. Vandermoose had skeins of yarn. Old Bruce Brewster gave Seb some fishing line from his tackle box. Mr. and Mrs. Muktuk had no rope, but they gave him a rusty bucket. Seb piled everything into his wagon and made his way down to the fjord. Bit by bit, Seb knotted, looped, twisted, and tied the strands together. "The sun must be out there," he said. Walrus snorted excitedly, "Wah!" and together they boarded a small boat. And rowed out to sea. Carefully, Seb untangled the jumble of rope and tied it to the bucket with a neat barrel hitch. Then he threw the bucket with all his might. Seb and Walrus waited. They shared a honey sandwich with the crust cut off. And waited. And waited. Seb's toes were getting too cold to wiggle. He thought about heading home. His eyelids grew heavy, and he snuggled close to Walrus. Walrus barked loudly, and Seb woke with a start. "We did it!" shouted Seb. Come on, Walrus. I know just what to do. The townspeople marveled at their warm bottles of sunshine. Seb's sleepy coastal town was no longer cold, dreary, and dark as night, but beautifully aglow. Seb wiggled his toes. They were warm. Walrus only bellowed, "Wah!" wanting another sandwich.